Today we're going to go through some of the key products of KKDC and show some projects, recent projects that we've completed, and in hope that you will get a good look at our portfolio and inspire you to use our product. With me today also is Davis, our technical manager. Davis, you want to say a few words?
Sí, muchas gracias por estar con nosotros. Bienvenido a KKDC. Estamos aquí para apoyarle en lo que necesita y déjanos saber. Estamos aquí para ayudar. Gracias. Go ahead, Nigel.
Cool. So if anybody has any questions as we go, by all means, go ahead and put it in the chat or just raise your hand. We can get to those questions. And Davis, of course, will do his best in Spanish, which is a really good asset for us as well. So to kick things off, just talk a little bit about KKDC. We're a South Korean-based manufacturer based in Seoul, South Korea, founded in 2004. R&D in our factory, which is in the photo there on the right, which is our own independently owned facility with our own people, own R&D staff, own factory floor. We don't outsource any of our assembly for our product. Our marketing and design house is based in London in the UK, and we've got art offices right around the world. Of course, New Jersey is our headquarters for North America, and we also service through Polaris, Latin and South America markets as well. So we have offices in London, Milan, Paris, Singapore, Hong Kong, really all around the world, so we can support specifications and support designs and projects no matter where they are around the world, which is an important factor, particularly with global projects and global design. And of course, as I mentioned, our office is based in New Jersey, so we can quickly support with samples and Davis and the team for things like shop drawings, technical takeoffs, sample submissions, anything technical. We can support that in real time here in the States. Just quickly, oops, let me go back here. So we're a linear-based LED manufacturer, primarily linear. We do some other spotlights and downlight technology. Today we're going to focus primarily on our linear portfolio. And as you can see there, we have a vast selection of different profiles. What you're seeing there is a profile view of majority of our portfolio. I'll go through in a little bit more detail with regards to why we're different than other companies in the market, and I'll go through that in a couple more slides. But this is a good indication of the type of profiles and families that we have. Everything from very small to larger grazing, in-grade linear profiles. And we have a lot of flexibility with this range as well, so we can customize if the need be. I'll go through this in a lot more detail in a minute. So things, and again, I'm not going to go through this in any detail, but just as a quick reference, Cove lighting through our Timmy series, very small. Tana is our shelf lighting portfolio. We've got specific technology based primarily for art and museum-based illumination, direct view, recessed, exterior, interior, all different types of profiles, high output, low output, direct view, etc. And again, it would take me 2 hours to go through the whole portfolio. Today, what I'm going to do is focus on some key products and show those projects also in application with some projects that we've completed around the world. Other rigid linear fixtures here, and you'll notice some of the key technology just in the images that you see there. Things like glare control, ultra small is one of the key differentiators of KKDC. We also do a lot of flexible range as well, which obviously is very important in the market, whether it's indoor or outdoor, direct view, top bending, side bending, or side emitting LEDs, and pixel-based products as well. So vast selection, a very wide portfolio. But the interesting thing about this portfolio is it's also very deep. So not only do we give you the selection on the profile, we also add additional value through optics, control, color temperature, etc. So what makes us different? Obviously, there's a lot of LED linear-based manufacturers in the market today. There's tons. And it's very important to differentiate. It's very important to understand why some companies are better than others. and I'm going to give you some key points, which I think are the most important. And certainly from our discussions with designers across the US, these are the ones that tend to differentiate KKDC from other manufacturers. The first one is ultra small. So we're known for doing probably the smallest product, linear direct view product on the market. I'm going to go through this product in a bit more detail later, but there's an example of how small this product is. Less than the size of a pencil, a very thin, precise line of light. And that's something which designers, once they've seen that product, maybe they've seen it at a trade show, perhaps we've gone and presented that product to them in their offices, they'll always remember KKDC because of that product. And that's one of the smallest in the market, called Groove Light, and I'll go through that in a minute. We're really remembered for having some very small profile products which fit designers' requirements on projects all the time. We obviously see that a lot. Designers now gravitating towards ultra small, homogeneous, or single lines of light. So rather than having a pixel-based product with LED diodes visible, we tend to go towards having lines of light or homogeneous lines of light. And again, designers tend to gravitate towards this type of technology rather than using a pixel-based product or an LED diode-based product. We do offer that, which obviously is important to also offer, but for the most part, we offer homogeneous lines of light within each of our families, which is important, I believe. Glare control. We have a lot of different really innovative ways of managing glare, whether it's using a micro louver, whether it's using a deep louvered cone as an optic, or whether we use a film-based technology integrated within the lens to manage and mitigate glare. Again, we work with some of the leading designers around the world, and what we've seen in the last couple of years is that people are putting more weight on the importance of glare control than the output of the LED. In the past, and we all remember 5 years ago, 10 years ago, when it was all about how bright you could be. Hey, how bright is it? 2,000 lumens a foot, 3,000 lumens, whatever it may be. These days, it's not so much about the lumen output, it's more about how we control the light and how we control glare in certain spaces. We really do a lot of hard work and research on ensuring that we deliver product with minimal glare. Quality of light. This is a really important factor for KKDC, and I'll just quickly brush on this without going into too much detail. We, for the most part, buy blue LEDs from various LED manufacturers, and we have our own conformal phosphor coating, which is proprietary. What that means is that we mix and have a proprietary phosphor which we coat on the LED, which creates the color temperatures, and the color temperature accuracy is very, very good. So that means that if you were to use KKDC today on one of your projects, in the future, we could specifically match that color temperature in the future. So rather than buying a finished LED, which is 2700 Kelvin or 3000 or 4000, whatever it may be, we're at the mercy of that LED manufacturer and their quality assurance on the color temperature accuracy. So we manage that through our own protocols, which again, designers really appreciate and value on their projects, that we can be very accurate on our color temperature. So quality of light, we have high CRI right through our range. Even at our baseline commercial level of product, we offer very, very high CRI, mid-90s, and TM values as well. Continue, and custom solutions and support. So we do a lot of customization on our projects, a lot of back and forth, a lot of deep conversations with designers and end users about their projects. And in doing so, we get asked to do a lot of custom-based solutions. And I've got an example here. Oops. Of a quick one, just to kick things off. This is a project in Rhode Island, which is a hospital, and the corner detail up there on the ceiling, and that little cove detail, or that exposed cove detail, that's using a mitered corner, which for us is something which we would easily support through drawings and shop drawings, installation diagrams, etc., where typically the product has an end cap as viewed in the corner down there. With that, we could do that miter corner for various corners, and that's just an example of the type of customization that we would do. We do other things like custom LED colors, whatever the case may be, custom lengths, custom optics. We're continually being asked to do custom solutions, and we appreciate those questions from designers because it's a real world problem. It's a challenge which they have on their project, and we're willing to look for a solution. And certainly, I'm sure we've all had experiences with many manufacturers which run for the hills every time they hear custom. We're quite the opposite. We'll definitely look at all opportunities and feasibilities because, again, that's a challenge which a designer or end user has on a project, and we feel that if we can, who are we not to try and help a designer with a real world problem rather than us forcing our products on them? We'd rather do a deep dive and find the solutions and customs that are required. Hopefully that makes sense. So we work with some leading brands right around the world, and we work primarily through designers, interior designers, architects, lighting consultants, and in doing so, we get to work with some really amazing brands. These brands on this slide are the brands we've worked with in the last 12 months alone. So Salesforce right across the US, Google right across the US, high-end retail, Dior, Balenciaga, Chanel, Louis Vuitton, high-end hospitality, you name it. We work with a lot of different brands. The tech industry in Silicon Valley, we finished a huge project with Uber, Airbnb, Pinterest. So we work with some high-end brands who value very high quality of light, and they engage high-end designers because they value that resource and that type of design within their space. Okay, I'm going to kick into some product, and what I'm going to do is just go through about 4 different products, and as I go through these products, I will go through a project or a couple of projects which we use this product on, and that's going to give you some, hopefully inspire you to want to learn more, and then we'll finish with some other key projects we've just finished as well in the States. Hopefully this will be inspiring. So Groove Light is the product I showed at the beginning. Ultra small, a really popular product amongst the designers around the world because it becomes a tool for them to use. Rather than a luminaire, they can use this product, integrate within floors, integrate within wall panels, integrate within ceiling panels, creating patterns of light, clean lines of light at a micro level. So really interesting product. One of those products where when designers see it, you can see them beginning to think how they can use this product in their projects. A very unique product, and there's not many like this on the market of this scale. This product can be mounted end to end, so you're getting clean lines. Despite the fact that the maximum length of this product is around 40 inches, you could do an installation of many feet because of that glowing end cap, and the slide there in the photograph illustrates how that would go, how that would mount end to end. We also have this available in a flanged version. There's an example of it there. I'll hold up to the camera. This is a really small little sample which I happen to have with me, and you can see how small that product is based on my finger. And you can also see, try and get that up to the camera, the end cap there. Hopefully that's visible. That end cap is removable, so you can do very long lines without any breaks in the light, which is very important. And I'll show you some examples. A little bit about the scale there, ultra tiny, using a side emitting LED within that extrusion. We have various shapes available as well. So if you wanted to create a pattern in a wall or a ceiling, we could do that as well. RGB is available. That's a more typical example, integrated within the floor, finished floorboards. Oops, yeah. So there's an example of it in a retail environment. There's an example of it in a retail environment. This is Macino in Italy. cut within that marble floor. A particular product could be the line or the slot would be sawed out, and then we'd put in a little clip, and the fixture would mount within the marble, and then it would be grouted or cemented or silicon around the edges to make it good. So relatively easy to install, and you get those clean lines through that surface on the floor. High-end residential, very popular product in high-end residential, finished floorboards, also repurposed concrete. We've done this in high-end garage floors as well, where they've repurposed the concrete floors using an epoxy layer and having this fixture highlighting around cars, in car showrooms, hotel lobbies, things like that. Really interesting product, which again is like a tool for designers to use. This is a project in New York. This is Chanel, one of their private perfume areas for Chanel. And you can see that the product is actually edged around the wall, right around the wall. And even though this product is really only about 20 or 30 lumens a foot, in a low ambient environment such as that, you can see how much light is cast up the wall. And in fact, this was during installation. They actually masked that off so there was no spill on the light on the wall. And more recently, this is a project in New Jersey. Actually, in fact, the product I showed you, this is one of the leftover products from that. So using a black anodized housing, which blends beautifully within that facade for Bloomingdale's. This is in Hackensack, New Jersey. Once again, the product was multiple lengths with the end caps removed and butted end to end. So we got that really clean line of light, and it turned out really, really nice. I hope you'll agree. So that's the type of product we would use groove light for. It's funny how you look at that photograph, and because of the exposure, it looks a lot bigger than what it really is. But yeah, you can see how small that fixture is. But of course, the light and the exposure of the camera gives a wider view. Oops, that's one of our reps. And just quickly moving on to some other product. So that's our smallest. We also do some ultra small, higher output indirect fixtures. And this is our Timmy Glow, also very small. This is less than half an inch. Get it to the camera. Less than half an inch, but fully homogeneous once again. So no LED pixels whatsoever are visible within this fixture. So it becomes a really very simple product to specify, easy to install, and without the stress of worrying about LEDs reflecting in gloss surfaces. So it's one of those easily specified product, and the glowing end cap is a very interesting addition to this product. There we go. So you can see there, the glowing end cap allows that continuous line of light without any dark spots in the ceiling detail or whatever the detail may be. Obviously, one of the concerns with cove lighting is having those dark spots in between fixtures. This fixture has that glowing end cap and allows that really nice, clean, continuous line of light. And the size of this product is also really interesting. Again, designers, one of the major concerns with cove lighting or indirect lighting is LEDs reflecting off gloss surfaces. This product can be specified without any concern because there's no pixelation on the lensing. And again, that's a theme which runs through a lot of our products within our portfolio. Various lengths are available for this as well, various color temperatures, of course. And a typical cove output around about 275 lumens a foot. We can get this down to very small incremental lengths as well. So it becomes a very flexible product in terms of how it's installed and where it's installed. Edge lighting glass, or it's shelving, cove lighting, whatever the case may be. We also have a version of this slightly bigger, ever so slightly bigger, but in a warm dim or tunable white solution. So this is our Linear Glow, very popular in high-end residential, very popular in corporate interiors where they want to have the ability to dim to warm, or they want the ability to be able to choose the color temperature within the space at certain times, whether that's using like a circadian rhythm, or whether it's certainly just the ability to change color temperature. This product has the output, and again, fully homogeneous, no pixelation with this product at all. So again, just a little bit bigger than the previous product I showed you, the Tumi Glow. And Lineas Glow has that ability to change color temperatures if that's necessary. This is done through 0 to 10 volt. Very simple, easy, off-the-shelf control. If it's dim to warm, then it's one channel of 0 to 10. If it's tunable white, then it's 2, 1 for the color temperature and 1 for the intensity. So very simple way to install this product. And again, available in all different types of lengths to ensure that it meets your project requirements. Some examples here, and I'm going to go through a few different retail and residential projects using this type of technology and why it's important to use these types of products within these spaces. This particular project is Moynat, and we do the Moynat stores right around the world. High-end French handbag manufacturer and retailer, well beyond my price range. I think the cheapest handbag in these stores runs at about $3,000. So yeah, not my cup of tea. But they demand high quality of light. And in these types of environments, good quality CRI, no pixelation on product is very, very important. And consistency as well, to ensure that they get the same product and same quality throughout all their stores. So all the shelf lighting here behind the frame on the handbags, up in the ceiling, all KKDC. And of course, in this environment, quality of light is very, very important. We also do Samsung, of course, as a Korean-based manufacturer. We've got good relationships with Samsung. This slide's not moving for some reason. Oh, there we go. Good. Yep. So Samsung, we do their Samsung stores. In this particular application, backlighting the parasol panels in the ceiling. This is for one of the flagship stores in Japan. And also here, once again, using the parasol and our technologies mounted behind to get really nice, clean lines of light within that fabric panel. So we do a lot of their stores throughout Asia and starting to do some of their stores in different parts of the world as well. Another example there. This is actually using a couple of different versions of our product. This particular product actually is a very narrow LED pitch. So it's not the fixture actually that was used is not a clean line of light like this one. It's actually a pixel-based product because they want to get that intensity through the parasol. So they chose a product which actually had visible diode imaging, but obviously diffused through that parasol membrane. And I'll go through some additional products here. This is a Balenciaga. So we do a lot of different stores of Balenciaga throughout the world. We just finished this one in Midtown Manhattan. This is in 620 Madison. So basically everything you see there is KKDC, recess mounted under the shelving, and in that soffit detail in the ceiling is also KKDC. I'll show some other examples here. So we work closely with not only the brand Balenciaga, but we also worked closely with the lighting consultant, which is based in Manhattan, to ensure that we met their very stringent design criteria. In this particular case, it was things like CRI and glare control. So glare control in this particular application was very, very important to ensure that the occupants or the shoppers within this space weren't getting blinded by high glare LED. We had to use a lot of different glare techniques within this project to ensure that that was the case. And then as that changes, I'll just reach across. So we also do, this is another project which is just loading, I think, for you guys. Another example here, this is a project we completed in New Jersey. A good example of using a very small micro size product within this office entrance atrium. It's actually an indoor space, direct view application, very small fixture once again, with a wraparound lens, as you can see. So the viewing angle is increased with that lensing. And a couple of challenges on this project, mainly due in part to lead times. And I mentioned at the beginning of the presentation that we have our own factory, we own our own factory. Because of that, we have very quick lead times, and the ability to ship fast was a really big challenge on this project. So we had this product manufactured and shipped to site within about 2 weeks to meet the late lead times, of course, and the construction schedule of the project. So this particular product, not so much a challenge on design, it was more of a challenge on the logistics. But again, we met that challenge and got the product to site, and it turned out very, very nicely. As that next slide loads, so we also want to go through some of our flexible product, and we've got some really unique new flexible direct view products. And Curvy Y is our side bending fixture, really narrow. Let's try and get it in the camera. There we go. Very narrow side bend, direct view. This product comes in a couple of different variations: dim to warm, tunable white, RGB, and of course all the different color temperatures that you may require to use as well on your projects. We also have a top bending version of that, and a very micro-sized side bending one. That side bending product, that's ultra tiny. That's the wrong way. Very small. In fact, this Groove Flex is the same family as the Groove Light or Groove In, same sort of scale. Really small, very, very flexible. I can wrap this around my hand, so you can tie a knot with this product. So once again, a product which designers can use as a tool on their projects, rather than using a fixed luminaire. They can use this as a product which they can use as a tool, as a design tool within their projects. This particular one's also field cuttable, if that's something which is of value to you guys as well. I'll show a couple of examples of projects. This is Chanel, downtown Manhattan. If you look carefully, you can see Boson and Davis in the photo. This particular project was using Curvy Y, flexible product, but straight, rigid installation. And the reason they use a flexible fixture within these walls, the floor and the ceiling, was because of the distances. So that was about a 13.5-foot ceiling. Using a rigid linear fixture like that, for example, they would have to join these end to end, and they're concerned about the lensing gaps. They're also concerned about shipping. Shipping a 13.5-foot fixture is expensive and it can break. So using a flexible fixture with a rigid extrusion created that really nice line of light without any breaks. It also allowed that 45-degree corner to be done without any issues or any blank spots. The floor was done with the same product, but we created a walkover extrusion with a clear polycarbonate lens. So it became a walkover rated fixture. So we had consistency on the color temperature and consistency on the product on the floor, in the wall, and on the ceiling. Another photo there as it loads. There we go. Yeah, then another example there of the project. This is actually one of the Chanel stores in downtown Manhattan. Like a private perfume boutique, you walk out the door through that tunnel, which has the lights illuminated. And as this one loads, I wanted to go through a little bit more about the glare control on our product I mentioned earlier, which is one of the key differentiators. This is our Momo R and Momo L. This has our micro louver integrated within the fixture. So you can look carefully there in the camera. You can see how that micro louver is on a tilt. So it's angled at a 14-degree tilt. What that means is that as you're looking from one direction, you're not getting the LED brightness or diodes reflected in your eyes. So it becomes a much more comfortable environment. You're still getting light directed to where it needs to go, whether it's a wall or a walkway or a shelving unit, whatever it may be. But you're getting that mitigation of glare. Again, designers ask us all the time to innovate in this particular area because they're so concerned about creating these glary spaces, which nobody really enjoys. And this type of glare control is really, really important. So MOMO R, MOMO L. R is a recessed version. So we have a ceiling recessed version of this. There we go. With the flange. Once again, with a micro louver. We can also integrate this within larger profiles as well. Very popular technology amongst the design community. I'll go through a couple of examples here as this loads. Obviously, the environments where the micro louver is valued are things like retail. So we do a lot of work in retail environments. This is one particular one with Birkenstock behind the shelving units, where this product was integrated to ensure that the glare, as somebody looked in the shelf, they're not going to get blinded by the millwork illumination product. And then the next one's loading right now. There we go. Another example here. This is a wine store in London, where of course glare is an important factor. In that particular one, actually, they used a homogeneous lens rather than a filtered or louvered lens. This is Fidelity Investments in Manhattan, designed by Lamb Partners in Massachusetts. The concern here, of course, that soffit detail with the signage is they were concerned about the glare of the fixtures down to the street. So we used a combination of product here, or combination of optics. We actually used 3 different optics to create this installation. We used a narrow beam linear optic. We used a asymmetric film, and we used a micro louver. So through trial and error, a lot of back and forth and experimentation with the designer, they were concerned about glare. They were concerned about the light not hitting that soffit detail. And they were concerned about the beam angle. So we layered those 3 optics. Now, it's also interesting to note that we get a lot of light loss with this type of layering of optics, somewhere in the region of 50 to 60% light loss. That sounds crazy, but the designers had the light they needed, and they weren't concerned about that. They were more concerned about glare. So in fact, this is the product we used. So using our highest brightness LED with an asymmetric film and the narrow linear optic, which runs across the LEDs on top, and the micro louver. So layering those optics, experimenting, gave us those options and turned out really nicely. Just the last shot there as that loads. Unfortunately, they opened a target right underneath it, which kind of, there goes the glare when the target's underneath, but never mind. And then another couple of examples here. This one's loading up. We also use the micro louver in higher brightness products. So we have products like this, which is an in-grade enclosure, glass lens, walkover. A fixture like that, somewhere in the region of around about 1200 lumens a foot, very narrow beam, 10 degrees, 20 degrees, whatever you need, but it becomes a really glary fixture. So if you're using this fixture in an in-grade enclosure, for example, or to graze a wall where this may be visible by human eyes, it's important to try and add some sort of glare management. A lot of manufacturers will clip on something on top, but then you're adding an inch, 2 inches of a glare shield. So we figure it's a better way to do it internally and keep the integrity of the fixture as low as we possibly can. There's an example of this at play. This is the Shangri-La in Paris. And as the slide changes, this is probably a better example of how this is used in a commercial environment. As the slide loads, this is a lift lobby area we're of course having the ability to control glare where it's high traffic, a lot of people coming through in the morning, and the last thing they want to do is get blinded by LEDs as they push the button to walk into the elevator. So glare control was a really important factor within this project, and we're able to do that. Some other examples here, same project as this goes through. In fact, we use this product on the inside and the outside of the project, right around the project. We also do, and as the slide loads, we do some really small homogeneous exterior fixtures as well. So this is our Mimi and Mimi Glow, about a 1/2 inch on profile, IP67, really small. Great for outdoor furniture, porte cochere areas, building facades. This is available in RGB and tunable white as well. So really small incremental lengths, right down to around about 3 or 4 inches. We also have a neat way of managing glare within this fixture as well. When this slide loads, you'll see a project which we completed in Brooklyn. This is designed in New York for a Brooklyn-based project. If you look carefully on this product, you can see 2 different lenses. Now, I will light this one on because even though the camera won't do it justice, you may see what I'm trying to describe. So by looking at this fixture, you can see a glary side, which is here, and a non-glary side, which is here. So you won't be able to see it as I shine it to the camera, but you'll see that we integrate a film here, which is a polarized, 60-degree polarized film. So if you're looking at the fixture directly on, it's going to look the same. But from an angle, you're getting a mitigated glare ratio. We lose light through this, but we control the glare and make it much more comfortable to see in environments like this project here in the staircase, where they were concerned about people walking up the stairs and getting a lot of glare in their eyes. Here's an example of the product up close. So these types of films we can integrate within larger profiles, within the big profiles, within the very small homogeneous fixtures as well, where that becomes an important factor. And then I'll just finish off with a couple of really neat projects we've recently completed. This is the Photographica building, also downtown Manhattan, historic building which was lit late last year, using one of our pixel-based products to light the balustrade. Looks beautiful, and I think I have a couple of shots of this one. So we do get an opportunities not just to do high-end retail, small little projects. We also have the ability to do these larger facade-based illumination. And I think that's, again, if we think about sort of 5, 6 years ago, 10 years ago, there were a lot of big fixtures being mounted on the side of buildings. Designers now and end users are moving back towards small, ultra small products which are hidden within the facade detail, because they want to keep the integrity of the facade and the beauty of the facade. So they're hiding those fixtures within the mullion details or within the architectural details, so you can't see where the light's coming from. And that's really plays into our portfolio because we have ultra small technology and products. Just to quickly finish off, I'm not going to go through all these, but we do a lot of work in retail and corporate environments. I'll just quickly go through these without any specific pinpointing of the projects. We also do a lot of corporate work, whether it's staircases, entrance lobbies, it could be meeting rooms, breakout areas, a lot of high value or high dollar per square foot environments. We do a lot of work in those types of projects. Of course, mainly with a lighting consultant behind, or an interior designer, of course. And a lot of times in environments which are designed in one country for the use in another country. We work on those projects on a really regular basis, and to do that, we also coordinate heavily with all the different stakeholders, whether it's the distributor, the rep, the designer, the end users, the electrical distributors and contractors. Museum and galleries. We're working on a number of galleries right now throughout the US, which have our product specified on there. And of course, public space as well, parks and gardens, government areas, libraries, outdoor seating areas. We do a lot of work within those environments as well, handrails and balustrade type environments as well, because again, our fixtures are so small, they can get integrated within handrails very, very easily. So we do a lot of work within that as well throughout the world. And again, a lot of custom work. In fact, I would imagine that majority of the projects that we do within public space have some element of customization as well, because they tend to be very small and have interesting challenges on those projects, and some residential opportunities there as well. We do a lot of work within residential and work with a lot of high-end residential lighting consultants.